Suri Polomare, Lightning Dust, A True Love by Switched Out. It was some time that after Suri had lost her fashion show in Manhattan against Rarity, she was so angry that she lost against an amateur. She thought Rarity was just an just a new beginner, but she thought that she had the best chance to win after she copied Rarity's fashion design and that she had taken the remaining of the fabrics which Rarity generously gave her. She thought that she would have any contest against her, any competition. She sure enjoyed herself that she would win this fashion show against any other competition, but she didn't. And after that, Coco Pomel, her personal assistant, quit. She told her right in her face that she quits. And after this, Suri had a very hard time to get any particular clients to her fashions. She tried and tried and tried. Her business was almost like failing. She had a lot of bills to pay. She was barely making any money by selling some of her fashion designs to basically anyone. She sold some of her fashions in much lower prices what she normally don't sell for. She was so angry at Rarity. She blames her because of her failure of her business and also losing her favorite assistant which she can just run over makes her do this anything else. But now she was nearly almost bankruptcy because for the past 3 weeks no pony has been to her store to buy anything. Well, except for one pony, but she looked around and Suri, she was so excited that she would buy anything. She looked around, saw many things that she thought was pretty, but when she saw the prices, and she left. She even had other 3 assistants, but she had to let them go because she did not have the money to pay their salary and of course to pay the rents for the building she was renting. And now she was so close to being bankrupt. So one day when she was sitting in a cafe by herself, hearing some pony talking about Rainbow Dash, she was actually looked around and saw a Pegasus just behind her. Looking in this magazine, she was reading about the Wonderballs' recent competition show in Trottingham that was only about a week ago. And Suri asked her how she knows Rainbow Dash. And she introduced herself as Lightning Dust. Lightning Dust actually introduced herself and then announced and explained that she knows Rainbow Dash since they used to be in the Wonderbolt Academy together before that Rainbow even became a Wonderbolt. But even then, she asked who that particular mare were, and she said that her name is Suri Polomare, and she's a fashion designer, and she used to know the friend of Rainbow, Miss Rarity. And Lightning doesn't even know who some of her Rainbow's friends were. And suddenly they stopped talking, and Lightning sat down next to Suri, and they start talking. And some unusual way, both of them agrees they both hate Rarity and Rainbow, and even all of their friends, because she Lightning thus blames Rainbow because of her chance to be one of the Wonderballs, including still be one of the be reserves. But it wasn't even her fault, because it was actually Lightning Dust who was putting Rainbow and the other those from the Academy, including her friends, in great danger. because using a tornado to clear the clouds of the sky. But she didn't thought that were any problem, because she was only being focused mostly on the best result. As faster as quicker, is the best chance to be a wonderful. Suri had the same problem. She was very angry at Rarity because she blamed her because her failure of her business. If she thought that if she could damage or sabotage Rarity's reputation and that she would end up in the same failure, or perhaps she would have to close down all her shops in Ponyville, Canterlot, and Maidhaven, and then ponies would go to Suri's business and she would be back as normal. But she had just one problem. She couldn't do it by herself. She would need some help. And then she asked Lightning Dust if she would be willing to help her. Because since they both had a common enemy and wanted to do something to damage their both that particular pony's reputation, or perhaps it makes this like misery. Both agreed and they went back to Suri's apartment where they planned the more details. Of course, they had different ideas or different views how to damage this particular pony's reputation. Rainbow was very known for her loyalty and of course her bravery. So Lightning does thought maybe that she could use that as an advantage. How to use that against her, because using loyalty to Rainbow to make that promise, like she had been invited by this new strong, perhaps a competition of another new formed group of very skilled acrobats, but not like the washouts, but something similar. And if she was offered a place to be the leader of that particular group, and they would be a reward up to nearly 10,000 bits for every single show. She thought that could make her to leave the Wonderballs and join another group, and that when the Wonderballs would find out that she betrayed them to get a new group for getting a high price of pay. But Suri knows sure that that kind of deal was not gonna work, because since she said that Rainbow is loyalty, she has always been wanting to be part of the Wonderballs ever since she was a filly. Since then, it doesn't even make sense. Why would she leave her dream life for another type of work? Even that particular work would be more higher in price. And Lightning does explain that, but you had to give any opportunity to get something to show. But Shuri just shook her head. That plan will not work. And what was your plan? She asked her. And she said that she wanted to spread some bad rumors about Rarity's boutique, both in Canterlot and in Maidhaven, make sure that they're using a very bad low quality. And that every time that those fabrics and if you would just hand wash it, it will be this color, and it will shrink. Even it says that temperature, it won't shrink. Lightning saw that could work, but it's just one slightly problem. Since Rarity had gained so much reputation over the past few years, but even though in that she has her former assistant, Coco Pomelo, taking care of the Maidhaven business. Ponies will believe her rather from the rumors. So if they went to Canterlot, they found out that Sally Saddle is taking care of Canterlot's business there, and she has a very great reputation within the elite class there. So if there were rumors spreading around there, ponies wouldn't even believe that. And Suri just was getting angry because her plan was foolproof, but she realized Suri had some proof in that particular problem. But if they decided to make something else, like they know that those particular stores are supplied with fabrics from across Equestria, if they could manage to stop one of those supplies, these fabrics, that particular shop would be running out of that particular clothes and have to order for more, and perhaps if the catalog's business is running low on that particular fabrics and no supplies is even arriving. But then Suri asked, what about we get a number to that particular supplier, and when the catalog business is running low on this particular fabrics and they had to call the supplier for more, but we called them back and saying, no, unfortunately let's say that they had more fabrics and that they weren't had, so they had to cancel that particular order, and that it was a lie. Like that spot after a moment, I just noted that could work. So they decided to do that. So they managed to track down the number particular company that provided the catalog and made Haddon with this particular fabrics that were needed. So, but there was just one problem. How will they would know in for sure that each of the business has running low on that particular fabric? Well, since Suri couldn't go to Manhattan business part because Coco will immediately recognize her, so she decided to send lightning dust into the Manhattan part, and that she will go herself to Camelot to scouting, recording, or perhaps try to scout for any parts. But at the same time, maybe they could spread some rumors about that particular business, or perhaps around it in the city. At least that was what I tried, like I said. So they did that. The same day afterwards, Lighty went to Coco Pomel, part of the stamp business, and she was curious how this Pegasus would need, and she said that she's just looking around for any particular business, for any clothing, and if she needs some help, she will ask for it. But she used around and also make sure hearing if this applies, and she was in luck this time. She actually heard Coco talking to some of the other assistants, hearing that they were running low in this particular fabrics, so they was going to call the company. So when Coco went back to the store, lighting was gone. She had actually ran up to find Suri. She immediately calls the company, listens that Coco just called, said they needed this particular fabrics, but then just after the Coco actually put down, Suri called back to the business, but is pretending to be Coco Pomel by try to focus on mostly at her voice to be matching Coco's. It was almost perfectly, and she called off the order, both for Camelot and Made Hatter for next week. When Suri, she was waiting to see the result of this sabotage, and it actually worked out as they planned for. This time it worked. They continued to do this for next couple of weeks. 3 times it worked, and the business was going lower. And of course, even Rarity had went to see what his problem was. They even went to the business to the company producing fabrics. But same result. Until one day it all fell and they found out who was responsible for this. Because 1 week, then they both in the Manhattan part of the business actually ran out of this particular fabric they would need. So Coco called to see. Actually, one of the assistants called to the fabrics to this company, but at the same time, no, Coco was actually with Rarity in that particular business, in that particular company, looking around, and then suddenly they received a call from that particular store saying that needed some more fabrics. That they didn't need any more fabrics because they had received a message earlier. But then, this suddenly, when they were talking to this director, the CEO for this company, hearing this, and they heard, "Alright, Miss Coco, that was right." But how could she be talking to the CEO of the company while she was standing next to him with Rarity? And then the CEO knows that as well, and he explained that had to call it back because some issue happened with the machines. So he put it on the phone, and they managed to figure out this is was the problem. This was something that has been going on for the past few weeks. But who could have done it? And why? They fought and fought and fought until Coco realized something. It must be Suri. Suri has been doing this to bring in parts, has been doing this for weeks. But Rarity asked why she thought about Suri could have done this. Because she noticed Suri has been watching the store from a distance in disguise, or otherwise had been in store. But she also seen Suri been talking to this mayor. This has been the same store for the past 3 weeks, but hasn't buy anything. Every time she went in there, the next time she comes back, the mayor is gone, but nothing has been stolen. No clothes, no money, nothing. For the first 3 times, we see some random mysteriously, but it continued for about 3 weeks. So they made the puzzle piece by piece and found out Suri has been seeing lightning dust. At the same time, they have been trying to damage Rainbow's reputation as a very bad. Rainbow, the Wonderbolt, is spreading some bad rumors in a newspaper, publishing fake photos, but these all failed right away because those pictures showing that Rainbow was one place while she was in another place somewhere else, which she had an alibi, a very airtight alibi. And of course, after some figuration, they managed to figure out who the other Pegasi were, and they figured out also what has been going on. And now they stopped it for good. And of course, Suri and Lightning Dust were completely unaware that they had been found out they were the responsibility for behind this plans actually. But Rainbow and of course Rarity made up their own plan, trying to make it spreading to people or to ponies mostly by their friends, only those that they could trust, and even to Coco to explain that walking around some places where they're seeing Suri and Lightning Dust together saying, "Oh yeah, I heard that Rarity had lost almost all her big clients and she had now had to force to close down, cancel out business, and now soon in Manhattan and soon her own business in Pony. And I also heard Rainbow Dash has been banned, is going to be banned as part of the Wonderballs, and she will never be allowed to enter into those upcoming shows in the future either." When Suri and Lightning Dust heard about this, actually they were so thrilled. They actually went back to Suri's place to celebrate this. But over this time to this planning, they had actually been falling in love with each other. And now to celebrate it again, even to celebrate both two things, that they actually believe they succeeded to ban Rainbow from Wonderballs and failing business for Rarity. And the second is to celebrate new their new relationship together. But when they came back to her place, she was surrounded by several other ponies, including Rainbow and Rarity, and they told them they know all about this, and that what they heard about them wasn't even true. They made that up so they could trap them. But Suri and Lightning Dust was so embarrassed what just happened, and they made all apology, and they were really sincere about this. From that day, Suri and Lightning Dust quit doing all kinds of things afterwards, because after being found out all of this in the public, it was the most humiliated all things that ever could happen to them. It took nearly 3 years they were even dare to show themselves in public. Otherwise, they didn't go outside for nearly 3 years. Well, 3 months actually. But for them it felt like 3 years. But after time, Suri closed down her business in Manhattan, and he moved with Lightning Dust to a smaller town in the west. Two years later, after they moved to this small town, they decided they were actually meant to be with each other, and of course, Lightning Dust proposed to Suri, and she said yes. They decided to hold a small wedding in that town, only invited some new friends. And of course, they decided to have their honeymoon in their small hometown. But after some time, they both wanted to have their own family. So they decided to start a family. But they asked Twilight Sparkle if she could help them, even if what they have been doing or been done in the past. Twilight was willing to help them. And Lightning Dance decided to be the mother first of all. And with Twilight's help, she actually became a mother. She was actually happy to have twins. The first twin was named Silver Dust. Silver Dust was actually like her mother Suri. She was very rude when she was a filly, but over time she grew past that. When she was older, she actually became a teacher and was well loved by all the ponies in their particular town they lived in. And when she was growing older, she actually got married and had 2 sons of her own. The second twin was named Twister Bolt. Twister Bolt was unlike her mother. He was very, very fast, and of course, he didn't bother to take care of any problems when he was younger. But when he was a bit older, he was told by his parents to take his responsibility no matter what happens, because it could backfire at him at some point later on, after they noted themselves. And he did, and at some point in his life, he actually got married and had a daughter of his own. And 3 years later, Lightning Dance had triplets, and they had 2 daughters and 1 son. They were named Stone Star, Boulder, Thunderbolt Power, and Flawless Breeze. They were all like their mothers, especially the 2 daughters. They were actually very helpful. But their brother, he was a bit more of a bragger, but he was always helpful to his family after he'd been taught at a young age. Stone Star, she actually became a mother of 2 daughters, while Thunderbolt Power had 2 sons and 1 daughter, and Flawless Breeze had 3 daughters of her own. And of course, all of they worked together as teachers in, well, in acting actually, because all of my 3 loved acting. And that's how Suri Polomare and Life Details from True Love got a big family. The